My brother's son.
Your brother's son. And do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I do. I did have two sisters along with the brother.
Okay. And who raised you and your siblings?
I'm sorry.
Who raised you and your siblings?
My mother and my stepdad, but the three other siblings were mainly raised with their paternal grandmother for a while until I was born, and we went with my stepdad.
Okay. And why were they with your maternal?
With the paternal?
Maternal.
My mother was an alcoholic, and she just didn't want them. The only thing I can think of.
And when did your siblings end up leaving home?
My oldest sister left at 16. My brother left at 13, and my other sister left at 15.
So, tell me about your brother, Terry Horner Sr.
Tell you about Terry?
Tell me about Terry, yeah.
Terry left home at 13, and he started doing drugs at that time. He has spent about 90% of his adult life in prison. He molested me when I was younger. He threatened to kill me 3 different times, and he was not a very nice person. He beat my mother and stole money from her as well.
Did he ever steal from other family members?
Yes, from what I understand, he's stolen from both of my sisters. My ex-father-in-law was nice enough to give Terry a job, and he repaid him by coming back into the building that night and stealing all of the money and weapons that was in the building.
As an adult, did Terry ever live on your mother's property?
Yes, he did. We thought he had finally straightened his life out, and Mom gave him the Airstream that was on the property so that she could maintain her independence and he could maintain his.
And when you saw it, what were his living conditions like?
It was horrible. He had, a lot of drug users, especially Terry. Whenever they would get high, they would take stuff apart like coffee makers and microwaves and whatever else they could, and couldn't put it back together. When Mom passed, I hired someone to clean up the backyard because he had left it. Stuff was everywhere. And they found buckets, 5-gallon buckets of poop, because Terry wouldn't come in the house to use the bathroom.
Now, I know what an Airstream is, but can you tell?
Oh, I'm sorry. Airstream RV is a bumper pull trailer.
And did Terry ever, as an adult, live on your sister's property?
Yes, he lived on my oldest sister's property, and he lived in the garage, and then eventually he got a small bumper pull, and it was a gorgeous house, but in the backyard there was so much stuff: air conditioner parts, cars, boats, you name it, it was back there. He would just bring stuff home.
Now, what did your brother do for a living?
Steel. He could weld, but, sorry, I'm bluntly honest here. He could weld, a darn good welder, but because he was into drugs, he couldn't keep a job, so he would just steal whatever.
Now, do you have other family members that have substance abuse issues?
Yes, I do. My oldest sister was prescription drugs My mother was a prescription drug. Tanner, from what I understand, was or is. We've got other nephews from my oldest sister. Two of the nephews and one of the nieces were substance abuse users.
Can you tell me about your mother?
Mom got married, I believe, at 16 the first time. She had 3 children by her first husband. And she got a divorce, and the 3 children, she dropped them off at Edna Gladney Adoption. Didn't tell anybody she did that. And she married my dad. They were together 18 months. I think I was an oops. And when she was a barmaid most of her life, and she worked dry cleaning. And she was, like I said, an alcoholic. I was born early. Looking back, I'm pretty sure a lot of my problems are due to her being an alcoholic. Whenever she married her 3rd husband, the 3 children that she dropped off at Edna Gladney, their paternal grandmother found out about them, went and picked them up, and she raised them for a while in Pentecostal church. Their beds were church pews, from what I understand. Then she got them all back. And
Was your mother ever abusive towards the children, you and your siblings?
she was emotionally and verbally abusive to all 4 of us. If the 4 of us was getting along as adults, she had to pit one against the other. And there would be so much drama. I eventually, whenever my mother passed, I cut ties with all of them. I don't do drugs. I have an occasional drink. I can't stand drama. It will, yeah, mess me up.
Did your mother suffer from mental illness?
Yes, she did. She was bipolar. She had severe anxiety. She had depression, and doing the alcohol and mixing all of her prescription with all of that was not really a good thing.
What about other members of the Horner family? Are you aware of any mental illness?
I'm not entirely sure. My oldest sister, I do believe she had some because of the way that she would do the prescription drugs. She wouldn't take her heart medicine or her diabetes medicine. Well, she liked that Xanax. She would melt it in a spoon of water and take it that way.
What about when Terry and Melissa Horner were together? Were you around then?
I was around. I didn't see them much. I think I saw them together maybe 5 times. I saw Tanner probably 3 times in his life, if not 4.
And what was Terry like around that time?
Stoned all the time. Him and Melissa both were always stoned. So their house was horrible. There was trash everywhere. It seemed like wherever Terry went, he had to bring a bunch of junk. There was a bunch of trash. I don't know how people live in that.
And do you know how they met?
Terry met Melissa in a strip joint, from what I understand.
And do you know where they were working at that time? Was Terry working there?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. And you said you were around Tanner Horner 3 or 4 times. Was some of that when he was young?
Yes.
And who raised Tanner?
His maternal grandmother did.
Did you ever babysit Tanner?
I did twice.
Okay, and do you remember about what age that was?
He was a baby the first time, and he was about 5, maybe 6 the second time.
Can you describe what he was like at those ages?
He cried a lot. It was like nothing you could do could stop. You could change his diaper, you could hold him, you could put him to sleep. At 5, it was like he wore his heart on his sleeve, and saying that, you could go, don't do that, and he would just cry. And he went to run out to the street, and I grabbed him and I swatted him on his butt like that, and you would have thought I'd beat the tar out of him. He was crying and hiccuping, and we were at my ex-mother-in-law, and he looked at her and he said, she made me cry. And he just kept crying. I didn't know what to do with him because my children weren't like that. And I felt bad because I couldn't get him to stop crying.
Did you get was he? So you're saying he cried a lot. You're saying that compared to other children.
Yeah.
What about talking? Did he talk a lot?
No.
Have you seen him as an adult?
I seen him one time. My brother said, "Hey, Jim, this is Tanner," and I was like, I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him on the street. That's how often we saw each other. But I mean, that was the whole conversation.
Did he stop by your house or your mother's house one time with us?
Yes, he had a camper at my mother's house, and I thought it was another item that my brother drug up. And Mom wanted all of the stuff cleaned out of the backyard. She wanted that camper gone. My brother said that it was only going to be there for a week, and it'd been there for like, I don't know how long, 4 or 5 months. I don't know. I didn't know it was Tanner's. So I was acting on my mom's behalf, and I started looking for people on the phone to come and pull this camper out. And I had it hauled off. I told the guy, I don't want any money. Mom wants it gone, just make it go.
And was Tanner kind of a typical Horner man or kind of different?
Like I said, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't around him that much.
Now, I'm going to show you a couple pictures here, and I don't need you to use the names, but you can just tell me who these are, like in relation to you.
This picture of my brother and my 2 sisters and myself.
Can you identify by the exhibit number?
Yes, sir. That's Defense Exhibit 66. We moved to have it admitted and published to the jury.
Have you shown it to the state?
Yeah.
So you offer state Defense 66?
Exhibit 66, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection?
Judge, if he wants to admit 67 as well, no objection to that either.
Yes, please. Let me
You move to admit
identify.
67?
I will, sir, as soon as she identifies that. Do you recognize the people in that?
Yeah, it's Tanner and my brother with a woman who has another child by him, and the 4 of us.
Defense 66 and 67 are admitted.
Your Honor, I will move to publish these and then I will pass those.
Okay. Cross-examination? Yes, come on, yes, please. Just make sure you stand so that the jury can see her.
Ma'am, my name is James Stanton. I don't think you and I have met before, have we?
No, sir.
Can you hear me? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have are you able to hear low tones but not high tones? Is that you?
It's all over the place. Just one got through your lips, I'm good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make sure that we can talk, okay?
Perfect.
I don't have too many questions for you, ma'am.
Okay,
If you don't understand something or you don't hear something, you let me know.
absolutely.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm looking at this and you're talking a lot about Terry, your brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
And you
don't
said-
tell many people he is.
Okay, I can see why. The second part of this, you said he went to prison for a long time,
In and out.
in and out, and that was for drugs, right?
It was for a number of things. It was for theft, drugs. I believe his first wife, he was out on parole probation, I get that mixed up, and he beat her up and he went back to prison.
Okay. I didn't hear you say he had any sexual type offenses in there. Is it just drugs?
He molested me,
Right.
yes.
But other than what he.
But he did not
prison-
go to jail for that, no.
He didn't go to jail for
No.
that? Okay. I'm just trying to get a clearer picture.
Understandable.
And the second thing is, you said that the extent of your knowledge on the defendant, John Horner, came from the 3 times you saw him in his life, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And once when he was a baby,
Yes, sir.
once when he was 5,
Yes, sir.
and then a tiny brief conversation when he
He
was
was
how old?
grown. I don't know how old he was, I'll be honest. He was grown.
And that's the extent of your knowledge
Yes, sir.
on the defendant.
Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, let me just ask you while we're up here, and I'm not trying to be rude, are you a felon?
Am I what?
Are you a felon in
No, sir, I'm
prison?
not.
And I think you said you don't do drugs.
No, sir, I do not.
You don't, okay. Now, I noticed the defense asked you a lot about your family history.
Yes, sir.
And in your family history, it sounds like you had a pretty rough upbringing, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not gonna ask you any details of that whatsoever, okay?
I'm an open book.
Well, we appreciate that, but I'm still not gonna ask you.
Okay.
But it sounds like you had a pretty rough upbringing,
Yes, sir.
and including some form of inappropriate activity at the hands of your brother,
Yes, sir.
and being around your brother doing drugs,
Yes, sir.
right? And apparently being around your mom when he's doing all this stuff as well,
Yes, sir.
right? But in your life, you don't do drugs,
No, sir.
and you never killed anybody, have you?
No, sir.
And you've never sexually assaulted or molested anybody, have you?
No, sir.
That's what.
Redirect.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused subject to any potential recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I take it?